Hi, very good afternoon to you. It's Gene from maverickstar Observatory. Here we go again, guys. More alarmism coming from the researchers who have recently discovered over the last couple of days that the Arctic and Antarctic is unusually warm by as much as 40 degrees. But the simple explanation as to what is causing this is dislocation of the jet streams as a result of an Earth going through a magnetic pole reversal. And what they're saying is not clearly the full picture. What they're saying is that this is caused by a corridor of warm air that has been transported up to the polar regions. Well, isn't that dislocation? Isn't that what we've been talking about for a long time? You know, our jet streams are broken on this planet. They're not behaving normally in any way at all. No, why are they normal? You know, we're supposed to have at 60 degrees a polar jet stream, at 30 degrees over the northern hemisphere a subtropical jet stream, and likewise for the southern hemisphere. And what we've got is dislocation. We've got the polar jet stream mixing with the subtropical jet stream, and in turn delivering lots of flood waters, you know, all over the world. You know, I could report on this weekly of, you know, people being displaced by 70,000 and more. You know, we saw floods displace 200,000 people. You know, this is on the increase, and it's not because of just a one-off warm corridor. This is a regular recurring thing, but it doesn't mean that the Arctic is getting warmer. And they're going to jump on the bandwagon of these researchers, because they are, you know, supporting an agenda that says we are going back into a global warm period. But you know what? I cringe sometimes when I bring it to your attention that the Arctic ice is rebounding and it has set a trend for 15 months. This is just a one-off. They're talking about a couple of days of warm weather, and they've gone and measured the temperature at that time, and lo and behold, look, this is global warming. This is global warming taking place. Couldn't be any further away from the truth. What this is researchers, you know, creating alarmism for a reason. You know, at the end of the day, we're paying for this alarmism and this inaccurate recording of data. If you want to know what the Earth's doing with the magnetic poles, then, you know, we do what we do. Take a look back over the last 120 years when it started to first migrate. We're not basing our findings or our discoveries on 1 or 2 days of events. You can't do that. And that's even so for, you know, what they've did with the Michael Mann temperature chart going back to the 1900s. You can't use just 100 years of climate to predict, you know, the long-term effects. You've got to do what we do. You've got to look at the interglacial and glacial periods, and you'll know where we are standing. Long term, we're going back into a glacial period. It might be triggered off even faster by a magnetic pole reversal. It certainly won't be helped by our planet experiencing low solar output for a grand solar minimum. You know, all these things are compiling up on each other, and, you know, people are having the wool pulled over their eyes, and the truth is not out there. You're only going to get truth from real researchers, people that report the truth, and not because there's an agenda to make trillions and trillions of pounds. You know, the facts are there. It's not that hard to find them, and you certainly don't need to be, you know, a scientist to do a little bit of research and dig up those true and accurate accounts of what really is taking place with our planet. Why the hell they won't report on, you know, some of the true aspects with relationship to our Earth going for a magnetic reversal is beyond me. You know, it will cost us all money in the short and long term. And, you know, on the topic of money, you know, I just want to say a big thank you to those few people over the last couple of days that have been chipping in. But when we compare the numbers of subscribers and the numbers of people that watch the videos, guys, it's shameful. You know, it's just a sad thing to see that, you know, as important as the topic that we cover on this channel, mainly the magnetic North Pole migrating, you know, you would just think that there'd be a lot more people supporting it. I do understand, and let me tell you something, let me just explain something. I'm in the same boat as you guys. You know, I barely make the ends meet at the end of the month. You know, we're not millionaires here, nowhere near millionaires. I wish one day, you know, I could, because I hate asking for support. I really do. I wish if I could win the lottery, you know, I'd be so happy. I wouldn't ask for a coin off anyone. I'd do it completely scot-free, but just my circumstances don't allow me to do that. And I am trying to change it. I'm trying to change it so that we can find another alternative to, you know, fund the observatory other than asking, you know, the public to support it. Anyhow, guys, it's probably worth just mentioning it. You know, I bet you're as dazed as what I am, you know, watching what's taking place over in the Ukraine. You can't help but be slightly distracted by it and wonder that, you know, it must be in the back of your head as well. You know, at what point is NATO going to get involved in this conflict? And, you know, if that is the case, then we are at Third World War. Now, some of the things that I've been trying to tell people over the years is prepare yourself a bug out bag. You know, it is the one-off insurance policy that you can make for your family. You know, if some of these people in the Ukraine right now, especially in Mariupol, had got, you know, the means to purify some water, they've got a small camping cooker they could cook some food on, you know, they've got temporary shelters, they would be 10 times better off than a lot of other people without those things. We might not be in a conflict. We might not ever be in another conflict, you know, as bad as what we're seeing over there right now, or we could be quite easily drawn into it. It would be wise if people had at least a little bit of preparation taking place. Now, apart from, you know, the atrocities that are taking place in Ukraine, one thing it is having an effect on is the global populace of crops. You know, a lot of sunflower oil comes from Ukraine, as well as a lot of wheat and a lot of other things as well. And of course, those won't be coming out of the Ukraine anytime soon, and I doubt whether we'll see them come out of the Ukraine this year. As a result of the food bowl shrinking, we are going to start seeing more prices increase, as well as what we already have done with the fuel costs. It's ridiculous. I put £60 worth of fuel in my car the other day and it didn't fill it up. Can you believe that, guys? You know, we have to, in my view, become more self-dependent on ourselves, our own abilities to create our own electricity, and that means looking into renewables, wind generators. If you've got you know, a nice running brook or river by you, look into hydro generation. Or if you've got neither of those, then, you know, and you don't particularly live in a windy area, why not a combination of solar and wind? Or, you know, like I pointed out the other day, you know, with the UK energy prices being half the price after midnight and full price in the daytime, why not look at storing the energy on batteries? Now, I looked, and don't think I wouldn't have done this, guys, I looked into building my own battery, and when I worked out what sort of kilowatt hours in total I'd need to run my home, or even close to running my home, and then looked at buying the individual cells to build the batteries and then build the battery management systems that take care of all the cells to make sure they're all charging and discharging at the same rate so that they don't get damaged. I simply come to the conclusion it was no cheaper for me to build it than what it was for me to just buy one off the shelf. And I'm not in a position yet, but it's something that me and my partner are seriously considering doing in the near future. We've got to get off, you know, the feeding spoon. You know, these energy companies are just going to take the money away from us, as we've seen 50% increase in electricity and gas costs this year alone. You know, some people are on minimum wage and they just simply can't do it. And, you know, I read the comments in the section yesterday. A woman said she brings home $1,600 or £1,600, not sure, but her rent is $1,400 and the energy costs are I think, no, £1,200 for the rent and £400 for the energy costs. How many of us are in that situation where, you know, we get to the end of the month and there's just not enough you know, to buy other things with? you can see why it would make, in some respects, a lot of sense if you've got a bit of a garden to grow a bit of food and offset the cost of living. And if you could do that with, producing some of your own electricity, even if it was just one solar panel and a cheap, moderate battery, I'm sure that would help. Because, we have to now look at everything, don't we? How many of you are concerned about putting that joint of meat, if you do, in your shopping trolley when you're out shopping because of the cost of meat going up so much? This is not going to stop. And as we continue into the crises that we are facing, things are only going to go dearer. And the only thing I could recommend for you guys is try and do it yourself. Try and produce your own electricity. Try and, grow some food. But one thing you have to do, you have to seriously consider it if you haven't, and that is getting yourself a bug out bag. Because it might be a flood. It could be a drought. It could be the fact that there has just been a stampede on the shops of panic buyers. Start thinking about you and your loved ones. I'll leave it there, guys. I think tomorrow we'll be back. I know Kendall sent me some data off his magnetometer and his muon detector over in Canada. It's worth having a look at that tomorrow. We'll process the data and we'll get the website updated for use. And the only thing to say is, guys, considering supporting what we do here. We are, after all, a small speck of light in a vast amount of darkness. When small lights go out like ours, people are just left in the dark. Link down there if you want to help support us. So what I usually do, you take care of your loved ones. As always, bye for now.